You want to talk about signing your life away? Try sitting at a scratched-up kitchen table in the cheapest part of town, hands shaking so bad you can barely hold a pen, while a lawyer and a woman in a $1,000 suit watch like hawks. That was me, Jasmine Williams, 23 years old and broke in every way that matters, staring at a contract that was about to decide my whole future. I kept thinking about Tommy, my little brother lying in a hospital bed, his whole world shrinking down to the numbers on a medical bill. 50 grand. That's what they'd already put in my mom's account, and if I didn't sign right now, it vanished. And so did Tommy's last shot at getting better that I wanted to ask why me? Why not one of those picture-perfect debutantes he could have had lined up around the block? But the woman, Miss Porter, Mr. Reynolds' assistant, just smiled like she could see right through me. You match his requirements. That's all you need to know. Like I was a resume, not a person. But I signed anyway. Because when your family's drowning and someone throws a rope, you don't ask if it's silk or barbed wire. That first night, after everyone left, I sat in our tiny apartment and just cried. Not the pretty, single-tear kind you see in movies, but the ugly, silent kind where your face goes numb and your chest aches. I watched Tommy sleep, thinking about what I'd just traded for a year's worth of bills paid. A year married to a stranger, a billionaire who picked his wife like he was picking out new furniture. I told myself I could survive anything for 12 months. I'd done worse for less. The next morning, when that black car rolled up outside, my mom tried to put on a brave face. Kept saying, "He must be a good man to help us like this." I just nodded and lied. "Yeah, I'm sure he is." 2 hours later, we rolled through iron gates that could have kept out an army, and I stared up at the biggest house I'd ever seen. Cold, gray, more like a fortress than a home. Miss Porter met me at the door, all business. "Mr. Reynolds is away. You'll meet him at dinner. You'll be briefed on the house rules and schedule." Rules. Of course there were rules. I followed her through endless marble hallways, past art that looked older than the country. My suite was bigger than our whole apartment. Closet already stuffed with clothes in my size. How did he even know my size? "Mr. Reynolds is thorough," Miss Porter said, like that explained everything. It didn't. It made my skin crawl. The next few hours were a blur. I got scrubbed, plucked, styled by Henri, a stylist who looked like he was judging me with every breath. When he was done, I hardly recognized the girl in the mirror. All I could think was, just 1 year. I can do anything for 1 year. Dinner that night was a lesson in theater. High ceilings, more silverware than I knew what to do with, a table set for two in a room that could seat 20. When Jonathan Reynolds walked in, yeah, I'd seen his pictures, but nothing prepares you for the real thing. He looked right through me, cold and precise. "In private, you'll call me Jonathan," he said. "In public, use terms of endearment as necessary for appearances." The whole night was like that. Businesslike, detached, efficient. "You're here because you're motivated, intelligent, and not connected to my social circle," he said, like he was reading from a checklist. When I asked about the contract's wifely duties, he almost smiled. "Physical aspects will develop if there's mutual interest. Otherwise, we'll keep separate bedrooms." Relief. It wasn't much, but it was something. Every day after that was scheduled within an inch of my life. Etiquette lessons, wardrobe consults, learning how to be the perfect Mrs. Reynolds. Lisa, my new personal assistant, woke me up, managed my calendar, made sure I never missed a beat. Mr. Reynolds believes in thorough preparation. By lunchtime, I'd been corrected so many times I was ready to scream. Then came briefings about guests for business dinners, who liked sailing, who collected jade, which senator never discussed politics at the table. All I could think was, one mistake, and I'm out. Our first big public event was a gala for the Hamilton Foundation. Camera flashes, red carpet, Jonathan's hand pressed at my back as he whispered, "Just keep smiling." Inside, it was all sharks in fancy clothes, everyone angling for something. "How did you catch the city's most eligible bachelor?" people asked. I smiled, played along, and tried not to think about how fake it all felt. Then Victoria would happen, a walking warning label in a red dress. clearly more than just a friend from Jonathan's past. She leaned in with a predator's smile, dropped hints about Jonathan's history, his rules, his emotional distance. He doesn't do relationships. He does acquisitions. Her words rattled me more than I let on. Weeks passed. I got better at playing my role, but the house still felt like a museum. One day, with Jonathan away, I stumbled into the East Wing, found an art studio. Turns out, Jonathan painted landscapes, portraits, even a painting of me from the gala, looking sad and distant. "You made me look lonely," I said. "Haven't you been?" he asked, more honest than I expected. For a moment, it felt real, like we might actually see each other. Paris changed things. He brought me with him on a business trip, let me roam the city, taste real freedom. He asked about my life, listened, even showed me his mother's favorite restaurant. After dinner, we walked by the Seine and he kissed me. Nothing to do with the contract, just two people trying to figure out if something could grow between them. For the first time, I wondered what happened when the year ended. Then came the news. Tommy was in remission. I cried, hugged Jonathan, felt that wall between us crack a little more. He offered the beach house in the Hamptons for Tommy's first trip to the ocean, an act of kindness that didn't fit the calculated man I thought I'd married. But nothing in this world stays simple for long. Victoria called one night, warning me about Sophia, the last contract wife, who fell for Jonathan and was left behind. "You're just the latest in a line," she said. When Jonathan came home from a week away, I demanded the truth. "Yes, there were others," he said, "but you're different." I wanted to believe him, but the fear of being temporary, disposable, wouldn't go away. Then Jonathan did something I never expected. He dissolved the contract, effective immediately. No more terms, no more rules. "I want you here because you choose it, not because you have to be." The money for Tommy and my family, that stayed. No strings attached. "I want something real," he said. "Something that scares me because I can't control it." He offered me his mother's ring, not to start another contract, but as a symbol, an invitation to build something new. So we started over. At the beach house, with no staff, no rules, no schedules, just sunlight, laughter, sand in our shoes, and the promise that maybe, just maybe, love can grow in the weirdest places. Tommy ran into the ocean for the first time, and Jonathan laughed, a real laugh, not for show. We watched the sun set, and he said, "Now we write our own story. Together. Look, maybe you think this whole thing sounds crazy. A marriage for money, love where you least expect it, hearts healed by risk and honesty. But isn't that what life is in the end? A series of leaps and stumbles, contracts and broken rules, people finding each other in the ruins of their own best-laid plans. So tell me, what's the real price of happiness? Would you sign away your future to save someone you love, knowing you might lose yourself along the way? Or would you risk everything, even your pride, for a chance at something real? Let me know what you'd do, because in the end, maybe we're all just looking for someone willing to tear up the rules and start fresh, one messy, beautiful day at a time.